Straight ahead on Law&Crime Daily. A call for answers from those closest to JonBenét Ramsey. What new information could soon be released in the decades-old cold case? But first, the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation suit.
The op-ed damaged Mr. Depp, created a cancel situation, if you will.
Plus, Depp's talent manager explains how Amber Heard's op-ed affected his career.
Impactful in a good or bad way.
With respect to Johnny, it was catastrophic.
And later, first-hand testimony of a physical altercation.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a fist and an arm come across my right shoulder.
We're live in Fairfax County, Virginia, with day 12 of testimony. Law&Crime Daily, covering court cases from coast to coast. Welcome, everyone, to Law&Crime Daily. I'm your host, Brian Buckmeyer. The Me Too movement and cancel culture takes center stage as Week 4 kicks off in the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard defamation trial. Law&Crime Network's Jesse Weber is live at the Fairfax County Courthouse in Virginia to break down the impactful testimony jurors heard on Monday.
Yeah, hey Brian, today was mostly an interesting day, focused on the impact the 2018 Washington Post article had on Depp's career and reputation, which is a key element to his defamation claim. But the day first started off with more evidence that Amber Heard was the one who abused Depp, and we heard Depp's security guard, Travis McGivern, and he testified that Heard would call Depp horrible names and that when they would fight, Depp would try to get away and not physically fight back. McGivern even explained how he failed to protect his client from two attacks. One, when he says Heard chucked a Red Bull can, hitting the actor in the back, and two, when Heard allegedly punched Depp, which is something that Heard sort of acknowledged in an audio recording that was played earlier on in the trial. But McGivern did acknowledge that Depp wasn't so innocent, that he was verbally abusive, that he'd thrown Heard's clothing all off their racks. And from there, we heard from Jack Wiggum, Depp's talent manager. Agent said that the star was once making millions and then lost so much because of the Washington Post op-ed. And we also saw the testimony of an IP expert who just showed how Depp's likability really tarnished after these allegations. But to give you a sense of this, we also heard from Richard Marks, an entertainment industry insider, and he explained the tremendous impact of the Washington Post article.
My general opinion is that the op-ed damaged Mr. Depp, created a cancel situation, if you will, harmed his reputation and his ability to get work in Hollywood industry.
The op-ed that didn't mention Mr. Depp at all and didn't mention any accusations that what happened to her, that's what caused Mr. Depp all his reputational harm. That's what you're saying?
Well, I don't agree that this article was not about
Did it mention Mr. Depp? That's what I asked you.
Well, does she have another husband who abused her
But
in
did it
2016?
talk about it? Did it talk at all about Mr. Depp's abuse?
Objection, Your Honor. He's tried to answer the first question, which was not exactly what the second question was that he re-asked. He had asked it to be permitted to finish.
Ask your question. We'll go from there.
The op-ed article didn't mention any specific abuse by Mr. Depp towards Amber Heard, correct?
The only name is this is Amber Heard telling her story that started in 2016 when she was domestically abused and ignored.
You know, you would think that after Johnny Depp left the stand, the rest of the testimony would be pretty boring. Not the case at all. All interesting and all important for Depp and Heard. Brian?
Yeah, Jesse, the information got really interesting because it wasn't just opinion. There was also some statistical evidence there, especially with Q scores, that Depp's career was hurt by Heard's op-ed. Do the numbers paint the picture that Depp's lawyers need in this case?
Kind of. If you just look at the numbers and his likability went down after the 2016 allegations and particularly after 2018, you'd say, sure, definitely looks like Amber Heard's allegations hurt him. The problem is under cross-examination, it was pointed out, you don't know where you're getting this information. Is it from humans? Is it from bots? The Q scores seem to go up for any reason, which is a big problem. And then you see these spikes in the Q scores even before the article was published. So what are we really learning from these stats?
Exactly. Now, Jesse, Heard's attorneys main attack seemed to be one of two things. One, that Depp's career was already tanking, and two, that he assaulted Heard. Are these winning arguments for this defamation claim?
Well, it's their only arguments. Look, if they can show that Depp attacked her physically, that could be the end of the case. But in terms of the impact of the article, I mean, there was so much testimony about, well, what about the Sun lawsuit? How much did that have negative press for Johnny Depp? He was also having trouble making big blockbuster films that were high quality. Is that one of the reasons his career fell off? He was also receiving negative press for filing a lawsuit against Amber Heard. And then, of course, the results from the UK trial were not too favorable for Johnny Depp. So it still seems a bit unclear how much impact the Washington Post article had.
Yeah, Terry, real quickly, what do you think about this idea of this cancel culture, that Johnny Depp was a part of it and a victim of it in this allegation?
Yeah, and that's interesting, too, because they have to be very sensitive to that language. But again, if she takes the stand and she testifies and has a very credible and believable story, they have to be very sensitive to that subject matter, and that's going to be very tough for them. But also, here's a case unlike any other where I have to say Johnny Depp so far is painting a very positive picture for himself.
Yeah, it's a tightrope to walk, and they seem to be walking it very well. Jesse, thank you very much. We'll be back with you soon. Still ahead on... We dig deeper into the contentious case of exes Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Jurors hear testimony from Depp's talent agent, how he says Amber Heard's op-ed affected Depp's future movie roles. Day 12 of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard saw testimony from Depp's talent manager, who told jurors how Amber Heard's Washington Post op-ed affected Depp's career.
How, if at all, was the op-ed different from other articles you had read about the Johnny Depp-Amber Heard relationship?
It was a first-person account coming from the victim. It's extremely impactful.
Impactful in a good or bad way?
With respect to Johnny, it was catastrophic because it was coming from a first-person account. It was not from a journalist. It was not from someone observing. It was from someone saying, "This happened to me."
Wiggum told jurors Depp received 0 offers for studio films after the publication of the op-ed. On cross, Heard's attorneys highlighted the fact that Depp never had a contract for Pirates 6.
Do you have an explanation why there is not even a piece of paper, not an email, not a text, not a document, nothing that suggests that Mr. Depp is going to be in Pirates 6 as Jack Sparrow?
It would be fair to say that it was consistent with a lot of the conversations that I would have on behalf of big stars, where it was verbal and there was an understanding of what the deal was going to be.
That's an easy yes or no. Have you seen a document?
Technically, I perhaps have, because it connects to all the other Pirates films. It's just a modification of a new document. So I have not seen 22.5 million written on a page. You're correct about that.
Joining us today is criminal defense attorney Julie Rendelman and co-host Terry Austin, along with Law&Crime's Jesse Weber. Julie, it sounds like Heard's attorneys were trying to get out of this witness that Depp's career was already on the decline when Heard's op-ed came out. But did that come out very clearly on cross?
So, look, Heard's defense attorney's job is basically to go after every witness that talks about this whole issue of damages. And the reason they're doing that is Johnny Depp, the hurdle they have is distinguishing whether or not the damages happened just because of the op-ed piece or because all the other linear things that were going on, and how to break it up. And that's a really hard thing for a jury to be able to distinguish. So, look, the defense is doing their job in making it clear, well, we don't know if the reputation was damaged because of this op-ed or because all of the other things that were going on, by the way, before the op-ed piece ever happened. And that's Johnny Depp's responsibility, not Amber Heard's. The jury would decide at the end whether or not they've been effective or not.
Yeah. Now, Terry, did Wiggum come off as credible in connecting Depp's loss to this article, or were Heard's lawyers successful in showing he's just looking out for his own client?
You know, I think Jack Wiggum was very credible. He basically is trying to establish whether or not Disney was ready, willing, and able to give Depp another position for that Pirates franchise. And I think he did establish that. He talked about the fact that there were many discussions about Disney 6, that they were going to pay him $22.5 million. He had dinners with Jerry Bruckheimer and Sean Bailey at Disney. The only thing that didn't exist was that actual piece of paper, but he connected it to the original contract. So I think that that really did work.
Yeah. Now, Jesse, reputation and damages seem to be the focus for today's testimony. We've got experts and agents and graphs and everything like that, but we don't have anyone from Disney confirming these losses. Is that going to be a detriment to Johnny Depp's case?
It's a bit curious because I looked at the witness list and I don't see any Disney executives testifying on his behalf. Now, I do think that Amber Heard is going to be calling a production executive from Walt Disney Pictures. So it makes me think that when you're Johnny Depp and you have a choice about who you're going to call and you choose not to call a Walt Disney executive, that's partly because you're probably a little nervous of what they might say. That's my initial take, and why Amber Heard is deciding to choose to call one of those witnesses. Maybe that is testimony that would benefit her side in the sense that it was Johnny Depp to blame for why his career took a nosedive and not the Washington Post article.
Yeah, and that could be a savvy way that a lawyer gets around these allegations of domestic abuse or assault and just simply say, hey, look, Disney says this wasn't the reason, it was something else. It'd be interesting to see if they pivot in that direction for this case. Jesse, as always, thank you for the stellar reporting. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Coming up on Law and Crime Daily, our coverage of the Depp-Heard defamation suit continues with testimony from Johnny Depp's security guard. Things get heated when the witness pushes back on cross-examination. We take you inside the Virginia courthouse after this. Welcome back. Our coverage of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial continues now with testimony from one of Depp's security guards. He described an instance when an argument between the couple got physical and later clarified what happened on cross-examination.
I felt it was time to get Mr. Depp out of the situation, so I stepped in between Miss Heard and Mr. Depp, telling Mr. Depp that we were leaving and that it wasn't up to him anymore. At that point, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a fist and an arm come across my right shoulder, and I heard and saw a closed fist contact Mr. Depp in the left side of his face.
And whose fist was that?
That was Miss Heard's fist, Amber Heard's fist.
Well, in fact, you saw Mr. Depp push or shove Whitney Heard, correct?
Absolutely not.
And it was only after Mr. Depp pushed Whitney that Amber stepped forward and punched him in the face. Isn't that right?
That is not correct.
Terry, hit by a Red Bull and punched in the face. How did you react when you heard that Amber allegedly did this to Depp?
You know, I thought Travis McGovern was very credible. I thought that he told what he saw, that she threw a Red Bull can that hit him in the back, that she punched him. He denied that Heard was, ever pushed, or either sister was pushed by Depp. And what I think is particularly cruel is she's doing all of this, and he had just literally had part of his finger chopped off. So I definitely think that it showed that she can be extremely vicious, that she's throwing things and then punching things. And it also sheds a little bit of light on that video we've been hearing about where the two sisters are faking or reenacting a punch. So I think it was a really good job that McGovern did here as far as his testimony, both on direct and cross.
Yeah, Julie, there's a lot of background, as Terry's kind of point out there, but Heard's defense attorneys seem to have a completely different narrative of how this punch occurred. That Heard, as you heard there, punched Depp after pushing her sister. So did you think that McGovern, was lying for Depp or telling the truth?
So I thought he did a great job, and I think the value of a witness is how they do on direct and cross. And one of the things that allows you to evaluate his credibility is the fact that he doesn't make Johnny Depp appear to be this angel. He actually describes him as the one who's quote unquote rearranging Amber Heard's clothing, meaning that he's throwing all the things out, which could be arguably some type of act of violence. And he also puts himself in the crosshairs by saying that Johnny Depp was mad at him for his failure to act. So this gives him credibility for the jury, for them to understand he's not really taking sides. He's really just describing what he saw happen as it happened. I think he was very effective. Obviously, the jury decides, but I thought this was definitely a win in terms of Johnny Depp's side.
Yeah, the only one pushback I would give on that is the rearranging of someone's closet. I think it was an interesting choice of words. He wasn't rearranging, he was destroying her stuff. But we'll see how the jury takes that point. Thank you both. To keep up with the gavel-to-gavel coverage of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial, make sure to follow our newest podcast, Law and Crime Sidebar. Listen in as Law and Crime's top hosts recap the highs and lows of the trial so far, straight from the Fairfax County Courthouse in Virginia. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts or online at lawandcrime.com. When we come back, the unsolved cold case of JonBenét Ramsey and a renewed push from the 6-year-old's father to solve her murder, and the Boulder Police's response to a petition for independent DNA testing. Welcome back. A Texas man will spend the rest of his life in prison after his conviction and sentencing for the murder of an elderly woman. It took just 45 minutes for the jury to come to a decision in the case of Billy Chemirmir. The Kenyan immigrant was found guilty of the smothering death of 81-year-old Lou Harris back in 2018. Prosecutors presented their case throughout the week-long trial, telling jurors Chemirmir followed Harris home from a Walmart, smothering her with a pillow and stealing valuables to later sell online. Investigators connected Chemirmir with Harris's death after another woman was attacked and survived. Police say they found the keys to Harris's home with Chemirmir, along with a jewelry box belonging to Harris, which had been tossed in a dumpster. Harris isn't the only alleged victim of Chemirmir. He's been indicted on 18 counts of murder for the deaths of other elderly women in the Dallas and Plano area. Last week, the judge asked for the jury's verdict and a few minutes later sentenced Chemirmir to life behind bars.
Has the jury reached the verdict?
We have now.
And what is the verdict of the jury?
Guilty of capital murder.
At this time, having a jury of 12 that have found you guilty of the offense of capital murder, it will be the sentence and judgment of this court that you will be taken by the sheriff's department and safely held until you can be released to those persons at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, where you will serve a sentence of life without the possibility of parole.
And in the unsolved case of JonBenét Ramsey, the Boulder, Colorado Police Department releases a statement after her father made a plea to further analyze DNA. Over the weekend, John Ramsey, the father of JonBenét, who was 6 years old when she was found dead in their family home, spoke at CrimeCon 2022, a weekend-long conference in Las Vegas for true crime fans. Ramsey is asking for an independent investigation and additional DNA testing in the still unsolved death of his daughter. Ramsey wants the testing done by an independent agency instead of the Boulder Police Department. Now, the department is responding to the push. In a statement Sunday, Boulder's police chief said, quote, "We have a shared goal to bring justice and hopefully some peace to JonBenét's family and everyone who was impacted by her loss." He added the murder investigation, quote, "has always been and will continue to be a priority for the Boulder Police Department." On the morning of December 26, 1996, JonBenét's mother reported the 6-year-old missing to police, saying she discovered a ransom note demanding $118,000. JonBenét's body was found later that day in the basement of their home, strangled to death and with a blow to the head. The girl's father is now calling on Colorado's governor to use his power to intervene in the case. Julie, is there some sort of benefit or harm to having an independent examiner review the DNA? Why wouldn't the Boulder police just say, hey, have at it?
So think about it this way. How bad would the Boulder Police Department look if they released the reins of this investigation to an outside agency And the outside agency was able to determine actually the person who committed this crime. I mean, can you imagine the egg on the face of the police department? So in a sense, I think there's a level of control they want to make sure that they are the ones dictating what happens in this investigation. From the vantage point of the public, the argument is, well, if the police department hasn't been able to figure out who committed this heinous crime, why don't we let fresh eyes on it? Let other people take a look and see if they can come up with a new idea, a new investigation, a new analysis in regards to the DNA. And so it makes sense to most people watching. Why not let someone else take a look at it?
Yes, it's not about who gets the egg on the face or who gets the praise. It's about who finds this person's killer and was putting an end to this mystery. But hey, we'll see how it goes. Terry, based on the Boulder Police's response, do you feel they're doing everything they can do to solve this case?
Actually, I don't think they are doing everything they can do. They basically have been looking into and investigating this case since December of 1996. That's 26 years. And yes, it might be a complicated case. They said they've had 21,000 tips. They've gone through letters and emails, interviewed like 1,000 people. But I think if you can say, let fresh eyes look at this, why aren't they doing that? Why are they hesitating? I think Julie's right. They don't want to be embarrassed when, in fact, something else comes up. So they're not doing enough.
Well, it seems embarrassing now, but let's hope we can get some answers here soon. Thank you both, and thank you for joining us here on Law and Crime Daily. We'll see you next time as we discuss justice in America.